Hey witches, how you doing today? We're going to talk a little bit about being a well-read witch. What does that mean? Right, we're going to give it a little bit of a definition. How do you do it? And what are the benefits to being a well-read witch? Well-read witch. That is hard to say. So before we get started though, for those of you who are near around here, my name is Taya. Welcome to the channel. We talk about all things witchcraft. And for those of you who are returning viewers, maybe coming in from another video, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. And all of you, please consider subscribing. It's a really great way to help us build the channel. So, being a well-read witch. Now, we're going to talk about being well-read, but in this day and age, I think being well-read, we're talking about books, but we could also talk about videos, blogs, audiobooks, articles. There's all sorts of different content that we can consume in this day and age. We're going to talk about being well-read, but understand that it also extends to other content types. So for those of you who are like, well, it's not my fault, I can't read because I've got, a learning disability or whatever, understand that I'm also talking about other content types as well. So we could be talking about the videos that you consume or, the audiobooks that you listen to. There's lots of different ways it's about content in general, but we're going to call it being well-read. So what does well-read really mean? It means reading widely from a broad range of subjects, genres, and authors. So on a broad range or a diverse range of topics or subjects such as history, herbs, different practices like Wicca, Hoodoo, Appalachian folk magic, whatever, right? There's all sorts of different topics of things that you can touch on. Different genres of work. So we can do biographies, historical records, folklore, the 101 manuals about the different traditions, right? Personal essays and letters, and then a broad range of authors. And that's about a multicultural reading. It's about reading authors who are Black, Indigenous, or people of color. It's about reading authors who are LGBTQIA. It is about reading from different authors from different traditions. Right? So you can see how all of this, there's like different broad subjects, broad genres, broad authors. Okay, now you can deep dive on personal interests, obviously, right? I'm a traditional witch. If there's a book about traditional witchcraft, I'm getting my hands on it and I'm reading it. But I'm just saying we also want to include supplementary or peripheral materials that might not be directly related to the topic, the tradition that we're currently in, that we're currently deep diving on. All right? So it's also not just reading, but also understanding what you're reading and being able to apply that knowledge and then recall that knowledge like within a discussion or within your practice, right? So it's about reading mindfully, which means setting aside the time to do the reading or the research, right? Not having a bunch of distractions, not trying to fit it in, willy-nilly. It's about really setting aside that time and reading mindfully. It's about taking notes, right? Writing down what you're reading, right? Writing down your takeaways or marking up the book. Maybe you highlight or underline passages that really make a point for you. It's about doing the exercises in the book, right? And maybe it's not like doing them all to the nth degree. Maybe it's a different tradition you're reading about and you might not do all of the path workings that they've got listed, but it's about reading through them and really understanding what they're trying to get at, where they're coming from. So as a general definition, being well-read means thoughtfully reading from a wide variety of genres and a multicultural array of authors in such a way that allows you to think and converse about the witchcraft experience at large in an intelligent way. So why do you want to be able to do that, right? Why is this important? Well, first of all, we want to feed and inflame our own curiosity, right? How do you know that you're interested in something if you don't even know it exists, right? So we want to sort of look for areas that we're going to have interest in. And what that does is it helps boost our creativity and our flexibility in our own practices. It's about knowing a bit of knowledge about everything. It's kind of that idea of being a jack of all trades. I say jack of all trades, master of none. I think you can still be a master of your own personal practice, your own personal traditions, but having that little bit of knowledge, that, you know, jack of all trades, being able to sort of see all these different things. Maybe I'm not a big herbology person. I don't know a ton about herbs, but I know a little bit, right? Maybe I know lots about history, but maybe I don't. But I know a little bit, right, about learning a little bit about the history so that you can understand where you're coming from, and knowing a little bit about different practices. It's about diversifying your viewpoint, right? When you read from authors who are Black, Indigenous, or people of color, when you read from authors who are part of the LGBTQIA community, you're experiencing a different viewpoint. All right, a lot of us are white middle-class women kind of in the suburbs. We have, and I mean, not to fault us, we have grown up with a very neat and tidy view of how the world works, but it doesn't work that way for everybody. And it's important to learn, how does the witchcraft community intersect with people of different backgrounds? Part of it is about avoiding cultural appropriation, right? How do you know that you're culturally appropriating something if you don't read about things and you don't learn about things? And at the same time, it's about enjoying cultural appreciation, right? It's about finding commonalities and differences in our practices and understanding the nuances. Like, I can't tell you how many people I meet who are saying, well, I'm not Wiccan, but when they drill down and they share what they do in their practice, it's Wicca 101. Now, that's not bad, but they don't even know that. They don't understand the nuance of how Wicca has so greatly influenced the general witchcraft population. I think it's important to know that, right? And really, it's about engaging with the whole community at large, which really, it's about enhancing our empathy, our ability to look at other people, other practices, and understand where they're coming from. We might not agree, we might not do it that way, but to understand why somebody else does what they do the way they do it. To be able to look at our own practice in a thoughtful, mindful way, and to know why we're doing what we're doing and why we're doing it, and understand how that intersects with the way other people do things. And it really, what it does is it builds a bigger, more empathetic witchcraft community for everybody. So that's a little bit about why I think it's really important to be a well-read witch. What do you think? Do you think it's important? Right? Do you understand sort of all the nuances of your practice and how it intersects with other practices? I'd like to know. Like, give me a comment. Let me know if you think that's important, or maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree. But yeah, I think it's important to be a well-read witch. So that's our video for today. Thanks so much for hanging out, and leave us a comment and we'll catch you in the next one. Mwah. Thanks so much, you guys.